Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Horse Designs. I'm Donna Goodwin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Brookings, South Dakota. Today, this is the card we did last Monday, the water lifting color technique. And this card during the live went out to Mary P. Congratulations. And for those of you who came back in on replay and liked, commented, and shared, this one's going to Kimberly. Also, she goes by the nickname of Cam. So congratulations, ladies. Thank you for commenting, and sharing my videos. I wanted to give a shout out to Cheryl. Cheryl sent me this cute little thank you card. She sent me quite a few, and I'm not sure where the others are right now, but I wanted to give a shout out. I love it when people send me cards as well. Today, we're going to do, this way. Okay, we're going to do this card, and this is using the baby wipe technique, and I'm going to do two different ways of using the baby wipe technique with this card. So I hope you're going to enjoy it. Please stick through to the end. This is the last week of March, so you will want to, if you do not already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator, and this is my March host code that's good through Friday. Yes, Friday. So I hope you'll join me there. I want to say good morning to Sue and Lori, who are here with me live and have commented, and for those of you who are being shy, and if you're joining us on replay, welcome. So I'm going to switch cameras, and we're going to get started on this baby wipe technique. All right. So you're going to need a card base that measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. You know that's my favorite card's base size because it matches our envelopes perfectly. This happens to be crumb cake. I'm going to give it a good strong fold with my bone folder. I like this because it kind of looks like the color of sand. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Mary. Or good morning, Lori. Good morning, Mary. Wow, I can't talk today already. You'll need 2 pieces of a basic cardstock. I'm using basic white, and both of these measure 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to trim one down a bit after we do the wiping technique on this one. And then you'll need a piece of scrap for your flower image, and you'll need another piece that you use for your sentiment. I have already embossed this with white embossing powder on Early Espresso and then cut it out with a die. And you're going to need a bunch of ink, either ink refills or any other ink medium that you like to use. But we're going to create our own ink pad today. Now, I opted for the Art Gallery stamp set. It's in the annual catalog, so it's been around a while. We're going to use this floral image here. We're going to use this little floral image here, and then we're going to use this sentiment. Your baby wipes are dry, dry, dry. Add a little water to them. They'll come back to life. And then for the dies, the matching dies, we're going to use this one that cuts out that floral image, and this is the one I used to cut out my sentiment. And you can see there's a big sentiment here that says, just want to say, and then you add those stamped sentiments, and then you have pieces to cut out the others. I'll just set that one aside and hope it doesn't get lost in the process. And we'll go ahead and get started with creating our ink pad for the background. So you're going to want a paper plate of some sort. A plastic one works really well, or styrofoam, because you can then clean it and work ahead. It does not matter what brand of baby wipes you use, but you want something big enough for your stamp, and that'll be big enough for my stamp, and you want probably 2 or 3 folded over a few times. This is 2 folded over twice, so it's plenty thick enough. And for this background technique, I'm going to take 3 colors of blue. I'm going to start with Pool Party, and I'm going to put a few drops, and I'm going to do these in a line. And then I'm going to come in with Balmy Blue. And then I'm going to finish it off with Tahitian Tide. Now you know why in the description I said this card makes me think I want to go to the beach. And then I need something underneath here to protect my work surface. I'm just going to bring in a piece of old cardboard. We're going to, you can see it hasn't quite seeped through, but eventually it will. I'm going to take this and fold it so that it's got the ink on the side. And then I'm just going to drag it down my cardstock. And you can see that I'm getting some different colors already. And then I might just drag one down. So these blues are all pretty close together, but I have some variation of blues going across that. I'm going to take this and set it aside because I can continue using this for as long as I want. I am going to make sure there's no ink on my plate while I create another ink pad. So we'll set this one aside. And we'll create another ink pad. And again, I have about 4 there. And I'm going to create the colors for our flower image. I chose 3 colors of pink, and I chose 2 colors of green. I'm using petal pink, and again, I'm just going to kind of put my drops randomly, sort of, where I think, and you notice they're already starting to spread. And then I'm going to come in with polished pink. And I don't want to get any pink down in this area where my stems are. So I'm going to put some over here. And when you're adding these, if you're going with different colors, like when I bring in the green, you're going to want to remember not to get them too close together to where they start bleeding, because it's going to change the color that you're working with. And lastly, Melon Mambo. I'm going to fill in some of these white spaces here. I'm going to check to make sure I have ink where I want it. Okay, I can get all of my floral in here. I think I need a little bit more up there. And let's bring in our green. I chose Parakeet Party. And we want our green to be down in this area in here. Good morning, Sherry and Terry. If you're joining us on replay, welcome. And then I'm coming in with Granny Apple Green. Now, if we were mixing or getting close with, say, blue and yellow, we'd end up with orange. So that's something to think of. And then when we ink this down, normally you're going around and around and around to ink it up evenly on your normal ink pads. With the baby white technique, you want to stay in exactly the same spot because we don't want to mix up these inks. Then we end up with kind of an odd color. Hard to say what color we might get. We might get brown, we might get any color. So I want to get the pinks on here, and I want to kind of get that green in those leaves. So I'm just going to start here, and I'm just going to keep inking up. Again, I'm coming back down in the exact same place. And then you have a floral image. It kind of has almost a stenciling look to it. So I'm going to take our mat away. I am not going to throw away my new ink pads because I can just keep using it over and over again until it's no longer producing the color I want. Then I can throw it away and start fresh. So I'm going to keep it to make some more cards later. So we can cut this out with, oh, that. We need to do another one. We need to do our inside with this cute little flower. So I just want the pinks, and I'm going to stay in the same spot with those. And I'm just going to put a little flower down here in the corner for the inside of our card. Now we have everything inked, but first let's cut this out. So I think you'll find that this is a really fun technique to play around with. And if you don't have a particular color and you need a color, you can create your own with some baby wipes. So I'm going to bring in my mini die cutting machine. Now, if you don't like high-pitched noises, I'll warn you right now, this machine squeaks. And there we have our die cutout piece to use. Now I'm going to trim this one down to 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. Looks like all of you are really liking this one. So now that I have it trimmed down to 3 3/4 inch by 5 inches, I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut this at 1 1/4 inches. I didn't want to have it broken up directly in the middle, so I'm going to cut it at 1 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to take these two pieces and cut them at 1 1/2 inches. Now, which direction? I think it's this direction. I don't think it really matters. And I'll go at 1 1/2 inches again. And then we're going to put these pieces back in like a puzzle, super easy puzzle because they're straight inches or straight cuts on the front of our card. And I'm going to start with the biggest piece. And I'm going to line it up in the bottom corner. Then I'm going to line this piece up above it. Sometimes it's fun just to take these background pieces and just cut them up a bit, just add a little more interest. And then we'll piece these in. It's going to be a really fast card, so I will definitely hit my goal of being under 30 minutes today, I think. I always like to be somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. So there's our background. Kind of looks like a window pane a little bit, looking out at the ocean maybe. I am going to bring in some linen thread. And I noticed some of you are already asking your questions, so thank you. 2, 3, 4. We'll answer questions here in just a bit. And I do a live giveaway at the end, and that will, the live giveaway tool picks from your comments. So I'm just going to let it sit there. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of this. I'm using the little dimensionals this time. So I can get into little spaces like that. And I'm actually going to use quite a few because I want them to catch on top of these linen threads and hold them in place. And then for this little stem, we're just going to come down in here. I think I'm going to cut it in half after all. We'll just go ahead and put this one on this little flower over here. And we'll do another one, cut in half, and put it on this little flower here. And since we have an extra one, we'll just stick it somewhere, anywhere. Can you believe we're in the last week of March already? It's a beautiful day outside here in Brookings, South Dakota today. I have to tell you, my cardinal is back. And he was serenading me this morning. And I didn't see the female, but the male's back. So the female should be not too far behind. She's around somewhere, I'm sure. She just didn't bother to join him in my little bush outside my window this morning. And I'm just going to set this on top, and it'll hold most of those strings in place. And then we'll put our sentiment on. I'm going to leave kind of a gap here that's going to go over the stem and the leaf. Just so we don't add too much bulk. And we're going to finish off our card with some glossy dots. These come in Gorgeous Grape, Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, I think, and Pool Party. I'm going to use the Pool Party on top of the blue. So I'm going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool and just add some nice glossy dots, kind of like water droplets. And we'll glue our inside in. And there you have a card using two different ways of doing the baby wipe technique. So I hope you enjoyed the baby wipe technique. I really had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to queue up. There we go. I'm going to queue up the questions and answered and the giveaway so that it can get started. And in the giveaway tool, just know that it pulls from comments, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. I should have had this done ahead of time. I apologize. I didn't have my act together this morning. Okay, so questions. Let me scroll back up to the top here. So early on, Paula had said that her baby wipes were dry. I mentioned quickly in the at that point, just add some water and it'll reactivate them. If you're watching us on replay, welcome. Sherry likes the beautiful colors. Thank you. Terry thinks this is a cool technique. It is a very cool technique. Do you need to work fast? No, Sherry, you don't need to work fast because baby wipes take a while to dry out. So you can really kind of take your time. I've had baby wipes last for a couple of hours. It just depends on your climate and where you're at. If you're in a really dry climate, they might dry out a little bit faster. And I believe you're probably up where it's a little bit more humid, kind of like here. It's probably more humid than here in South Dakota. You just invested in all your re-inkers. Good choice, because if you are a Stampin' Up fan and you follow Stampin' Up, you know that on Wednesday they are announcing to demonstrators what the new colors are and which colors are going away because they're doing a complete refresh of colors. So those re-inkers will be gone in a matter of hours once they make the announcement of which colors are retiring, because everybody will be getting their re-inkers to keep their ink pads going after they can no longer get them. You love the softness I achieved. Thank you. I kind of like that. Paula thinks it's a pretty card. Brenda really likes this flower. This is a really pretty flower, and I was really surprised at how it came out looking like a stenciling technique. Lori thinks it's a cool technique. So that die cut machine. Yes, my die cut. I think you're talking about when it was squeaking. I know Lori lives out there in the country as well. And any of you who lived in the country know that there are two things you always need. If it's supposed to move and it doesn't, you need WD-40. I tried WD-40. If it's not supposed to move and it does, duct tape. Well, duct tape won't work on that, but I did tighten up the bolts. That didn't help either. Where do I get my Google? I'm not sure what you mean, Laura. You might have to clarify that. Fast is good. Yes, fast is always good. But see, we're slowing down now that I'm answering questions. Where did I get my glue from? Okay. I actually order from myself from Stampin' Up, but you can get this. This is Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue. You can find it in any box store, and you can find it online. Terry, did you use watercolor paper or regular cardstock? I used regular cardstock. Baby wipes aren't as wet as when you're doing watercolor techniques, so you can get away with regular cardstock. Looks like apple blossoms. It does kind of look like apple blossoms, doesn't it? I didn't think about that. This looks like a fun technique to try. Very pretty. Yes, Sue, it's a really fun technique. Cute and fast. And question, do you have a rule of thumb for dividing the focal point? No, I just picked some random measurements and went with it. Patty's here today. Welcome, Patty. Can you reset them once inked? Yes, you can always add more ink to them. You just got to be careful when you start adding them. If you get too many inks on top of each other, you'll end up with probably brown. I'll have to go back and watch the replay to see at what point you said you didn't know that. Oh, about the re-inkers. Yes. Important to know. Do we sell that die cutting machine? Yes, Stampin' Up does sell that little mini die cutting machine. It's $60 for the mini. However, keep in mind our embossing folders are wider and they don't fit through the mini machine. We have some thinner ones, but if you have anything that is wider than 3 1/4 inches, it won't fit through that machine. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll draw. Okay, and here we go. Sherry, congratulations, Sherry. Sherry's going to get, oh, let me go back. Let me fix this. Sherry's going to get this card. So congratulations, Sherry. I'll get that out in the mail to you today. Thank you, everyone, for liking, commenting, and sharing. And do remember, if you do like these videos, please like, comment, and share with your friends. Lori, get with me. Lori, get with me offline. Paula, I mean, re-wet the baby wipes that have ink on them. I haven't tried that, but I would certainly try adding a few drops. I would probably put water in a little spray bottle. I'd probably put it in a little spray bottle and spritz it that way. That way you don't get an oversaturation of water in one spot. So thank you, everyone, for, oh, you want to know what's coming up, what's going to be posted on Friday, I bet. On Friday, I'm going to, oh, there we go. I am going to do a plastic wrap technique. So go to your kitchen and grab a couple sheets of, small sheets, they don't have to be real big. Grab a couple sheets of plastic wrap and come back and follow and watch the video that I upload on Friday using the plastic wrap technique. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Happy trails.